You've just finished your course.
Yeah.
You've succeeded. Well done. What helped you learn on your course?
Basically, a lot of it was a lot more of my own learning as compared to when I was in A-level. A lot of the time it'd be teachers telling me how I'm supposed to learn certain aspects of art and design, which I was. Whereas this year, for my foundation course, a lot of it I've learned more or less by myself. It's basically tutors would tell me a brief description on what I'm supposed to do, and then I go about my own business to make sure that project is successful. It was overwhelming in the beginning, and I wasn't too sure how to go about it myself. But once I got the gist of what I'm supposed to do, particularly with group work, because there was a lot of group work in the beginning, and I was getting used to group work. You know, meeting new people is a challenge in itself, and I felt confident with working with other people, and it made me confident to do my own sort of projects as well, because knowing I didn't make many friends in the past, and it's overwhelming to make friends this year, and it sort of built me up to get me where I am at this point today. And a lot of it is through influences of parents, friends and tutors, but majority of my learning was my own type. I've learned it by myself. As far as like the writing side to things, like writing essays, I mean, writing the sketchbooks I could do, making notes, but as far as doing long written essays, it was more towards the end of the course where I felt that I needed more of the help, because I explained that in the beginning that I might need some form of help as relating to my disability. It wasn't so much in the beginning because I felt fine with little writing bits here and there, but it was towards the end where I needed the most help. So I talked to the learning director near towards the end, and I explained it with my words, because a lot of teachers thought I was confident with my speaking, but my writing was more needing improving on. So once I've explained it and had a few notes from my words translated with them written it down, it built me up towards the end doing my final major project particularly. And by near towards the end, it was me focusing on what I like to do most, which was graphics and filmmaking, as I learnt myself that that's what I like to do. I love computers. I discovered that during the year. And I've learned all the software on my own. I've dedicated all my time to going there every single day just to make sure that that I'm going to do all the editing I do in one day, all the camera work in one day, and whatever I can do at the time, because I'm pushing myself to get the best really out of it. And with this documentary I made, I really wanted to push myself to make the best out of it through my own learning, really.
Can you just say something about the types of support that you received? What aspects of that support really helped you?
A lot of the support was not so much my tutors, because I have two tutors within graphics. So throughout the year I had to have two teachers within each pathway that I into, and with graphics it's no exception, two teachers. One of them tells me straight up how things are with my work. He doesn't hold things back, and he'll tell me as it is, and I did like that at first, because it will make me push more into what I really should be more doing. But then I realised that some of it was it was a bit too critical for my sort of learning. So I needed someone more mellow, which is what my other tutor did, because there was one that was sometimes a bit shallow and a bit critical, whereas the other one I can learn with him because he's more into modern technology and I'm more into that, and I can connect with that, whereas other tutors I cannot connect with so much. So the support was very limited as far as the tutors were concerned, and when going into the graphics pathway, it was quite difficult because they weren't very supportive as far as getting me into the pathway I wanted to do in the first place. Because the woman in 3D, they recommended me for 3D, and I thought, why would you put me in 3D, which is this is not what I come here for. And I asked her, what makes you think I'm good for 3D at that point? And she goes, oh, you do a lot of good drawings, 3D models, and we think you'd be suited for that sort of area. And I said, well, no offense, I wouldn't exactly do ceramics and glass when I actually come here for more of graphics. And you can literally see that I can do some graphics in there as well. So I really don't want to do this. So can I have another diagnostic, please? And I told her straight, give me another diagnostic, please, because I'm not going to do something I'm not going to do. I'm not prepared to do it.
So you actually pushed for what you wanted?
I pushed it because there was people that I saw that wanted to do like fashion and graphics, because I've noticed that fashion and graphics are the top priority areas within art and design. I've noticed it's big money at the end of the day. You're earning money, so that's what I come in there for, not just for money, but I like it. And yeah, so I said I want another diagnostic, and I kept on going. I had one the next day, and I said I want to do graphics, and they said, oh, you know, what about product design, because it involves a few graphics. I still said no, I'm not doing it. I am not doing it. So she said, go upstairs and talk to the graphics tutor, and I got what I wanted in the end, because I showed her my portfolio. She said, I'm not supposed to do this, but I'll let you in. Prepared for it, so I wasn't gonna stand by and take it.
I'm just going to move you on a
Sure.
little bit. Think back on the year again. What difficulties did you encounter?
What difficulties? One of the major difficulties I experienced was when the compact scheme through foundation, where you go to different colleges within the UAL and you choose the courses that are listed. And it was the most difficult time, because Central St Martin's, the first time, I wasn't really, it wasn't self-explained to me what I'm supposed to do with my portfolio, and it wasn't very clear, so that's why I didn't get into CSM as I would have wanted to in the beginning. But wherever I got into, I didn't really care, as long as I know I got in somewhere where I feel comfortable in and knowing I'll get in place. And then Chelsea was the most difficult time, which was the second interview. And a lot of things personal in my life at the time was really, really dwelling on me as well. So I had personal issues as well as academic issues. And with my disability, I have panic attacks. And it can overtake me sometimes. And with that particular part of the year, I struggled just to keep myself insane, quite honestly, with that. And with those personal issues, with the issues in uni, I ended up going home and I was burnt out. I needed my mum for support. I said to her, she suggested to me, why not take a gap year, take a break for a year and stuff like that. My mind said that I should carry on because I need to be more motivated, but at the same time, I just felt that I couldn't take it. There's parts that I couldn't take, because especially with the amount of work I've got to do, and I work solidly every night, and a lot of the times I don't even get a lot of sleep, and that drains me as well, and a lot of the time that was really difficult. I think that was a major difficulty this year, but otherwise nothing really was difficult that year.
Can I ask you to tell us a little bit about how you overcame the difficulties? So how did you overcome this time of terrible stress?
I think it was just my motivation. I'm motivated in education, and I said, well, I have my bad times with those difficulties I said earlier, but I said I'm not going to give up, because I'm the type of person to say that, whatever goes through me, I know my mind's saying keep going, because my mind says to me that I don't want to be a flop all my life. I don't want to look like that person on the street, where I'd rather be successful and be happy whatever, personally and academically. If I achieve a lot, it makes me happy. If I go high levels, it makes me happy. It makes me push myself even further to get where I'm at, because to do foundation and get a highest grade I can get, I'm overwhelmed, and it makes me want to do it more. I'm pushed to do it more, even if I was to get a low grade and I think, oh, what's happening there? You know, I don't understand. You know, because I usually take you know, positive notes quite personally and negative notes quite personally, because I've grown up to be positive and I've never had negative parts, and that's what gets me. But I'm just motivated with everything that I do, and whatever is thrown at me, I do it because I want to succeed. I want to be that type of person to succeed in life.
Excellent. Shall we leave it there? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
In terms of how you succeeded, what would you like to tell students out there who might be struggling?
Well, I would say no matter what downs you be facing at the time, no matter what obstacles you've got to come around, I say this to everyone: don't give up. Whatever you want to do, go out and do it. You know, don't just sit there and think, oh, I could be this, I could be that. Whatever opportunities come at you, whether it's an opportunity to be in front of the camera and or whatever it is, do it. You know, just do what you want to do and enjoy yourself, enjoy your life as you want to, and be successful, really, because if you be successful, you'll be happy. And you know, being successful will make your other parts of your life balance out with everything that's personal, everything that's anything else. I just say enjoy yourself and succeed in life, and you'll be happy.
Great.
And do what you got to do, basically.